Do you ever feel like sometimes you know exactly what other people should be doing? That you have all of this insight, that you can see exactly what's happening. You see all the things that they don't see, and you know for sure what it is that they should or shouldn't be doing. I felt the same way for a long time, and I have figured out the flaw in that logic. Hi, I'm Charles McKeever, your happy man coach, and I help men find peace and clarity and calmness and strength within them as they work on improving their marriage and sometimes even as they're getting divorced. And I was talking to a man the other day, and he was talking about how his father is externally focused like this. Like he's always fixated and focused on what other people should be doing. And he's never really taking a look at what he's doing. He's never really looking inside at himself and owning those parts of him. And I told him, I said, I get that. I totally get that. For the first half of my life, I was really concerned about what other people were doing. I grew up in an alcoholic home. There were a lot of 2 a.m. mornings. There was drunk driving and fights and yelling and just all this chaos. And I didn't want to be impacted by other people's behavior, right? I had been impacted like that for far too long growing up. And as an adult, I kind of drug that into my adult life. And I was like, no, I don't want this anymore. I don't want other people's behavior to negatively impact me. And so I kind of went on this mission to kind of control the outside. If I can get the outside to be a certain way, then I'll be okay. I'll be safe. I can then be happy. And I operated like that for a very long time. And what it led to was confusion and frustration and resentment, because I would offer up advice to my wife, to friends, to my kids, coworkers, strangers, if they would listen, sometimes even if they didn't. And then when people didn't take the advice, or they really just made choices for themselves, then I would take that personally. I'd get upset about it. I would think that I was being disregarded or dismissed or disrespected. And I felt powerless. I felt choiceless. I felt resentful and frustrated. And what I've come to understand for myself, and this is me, I'm talking about me here, right? Is that I came to understand that all of that was trying to control someone or something outside of me, which left me feeling powerless and choiceless and dependent on them, the person, people, situation, economy, weather, things well beyond my control, things that I didn't have the right or responsibility to be able to, to manage, to control, to dictate. These are the words, right? These are words that come up. These are common words that come up in coaching calls with my guys. And I also realized at some point it takes us a while, right, for this stuff to process. We're kind of shifting into a whole new reality of looking at things. I started to realize that I was externally dependent because that was a learned behavior, but I was also externally dependent because it was easier for me to see other people's stuff than it was for me to own my own stuff, for me to look inside and say, what do I need to do about that? And some of that's because we're on the inside looking out. It's hard for us to see ourselves, right? It's easier for us to see other people. Part of it's because there's a whole process of stimulus and response, right? Like high school biology class, right? That life responds to stimulus. And so when something happens outside of us, then something happens inside of us, right? When somebody says something or does something, then we have a thought about it. And then we have a feeling about that thought, and then we have a reaction. We have some sort of physiological response that takes place. And then as we feel that feeling, we point to that person or that thing and we say, hey, you made me feel this way, right? Kind of a projecting onto or associating the feeling that's happening on the inside with the person or the thing on the outside. And so it's real easy for us to get confused, right? Confused as to like, oh, that's not, yes, this other person's involved in the story, but that feeling, that thought, that what's happening inside of me is happening inside of me. I like that. Like, this is me. This is me giving you visuals. So yeah, I at some point, I'm talking with this man, and we're talking about his father, and we're talking about this thing that his father's in this place of like unconsciousness, right? There's not a self-awareness there to say, oh, if I need someone outside of me to be different for me to be okay, then I'm kind of screwed. But as soon as I can say, oh, what do I think about that? What do I want for myself? What choices do I make in order to support what's important to me? Well, now I have ownership. Now I have power, right? Now I have choice. Now I'm not dependent. Now I'm not powerless. Now I'm not choiceless, right? And it doesn't mean that I always get what I want. It doesn't mean that everything always goes the way that I want to, but at least I can own the part of my life that's my part to own, and make choices about the part that are important to me. And then after that, I have to let go. Everything else is beyond my control. But I always get a new moment, a new opportunity to make a choice, a new choice, right? And so that was what I was thinking about, sitting here and looking at these coaching notes from the week. And I thought I'd just turn the camera on and share that with you. So if anything that I've said here resonates with you, piques your curiosity, kind of stands out to you, and you want to talk more about it, reach out to me. There's a link in the description. It's in all of my videos. And you can go to happymancoaching.com, fill out my contact form, and we can set up a call and talk with each other, because that's how this process works. That's how this transformation is we talk and we bring things to the surface, and we're able to, see ourselves in ways that we hadn't seen ourselves before, and we're able to observe and go, I never considered that before. What do I think about that? And then we go off and make new choices and have new experiences. So, okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button if this video helped you. That way another man can hopefully find it, and it'll help him too. All right, talk to you later.